Bob, we have once again reached my favorite portion of the game show, and I always love creating games for professional game creators to play. So it's once again a thrill that I get to create and host a Bradley Clarke original game for you to play. It's time for the Game of the Day.
Game of the Day.
And as I said at the beginning of the episode, the focus is only on one classic game this time around. And this is the second time I'm playing this game for the Game of the Day with a guest on the game show. You were the executive in charge of the ABC reboot of Match Game during the 1990 to 1991 television season. And now, over 30 years later in the year 2023, the only thing you'll be in charge of is the answers that you give to the questions that I wrote. It's time to play Mutual Friend Match Game. Mutual Friend Match Game. And before I explain the rules, can you believe it has now been over 30 years since Match Game 90 originally aired?
It is hard to believe. It's a great memory for me. The association with that show is one of the things that I really, really enjoyed a lot in my career. Getting to work with some of the classic people, the Goodson organization. Ross Schaefer was a delight. It was such a fun day in the studio. Really great.
I've always wondered, the pilot for Match Game 90 was played almost identical to Match Game PM and the Match Game portion of Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour, in that there were 3 rounds of questions, and the contestant with the most matches after round 3 won the game. The only difference was that all 6 celebrities played every question, even if a contestant matched them previously, meaning a contestant could earn more than the traditional 6 points. However, when Match Game 90 went to air, the game featured some new additions that were not aspects in the previous versions of Match Game, including keeping the concept from the pilot of all 6 celebrities playing during round 2, even if the contestant matched them during round 1, playing for cash during the main game instead of for points, and introducing the matchup game played after both rounds 1 and 2, in which contestants could build up their score by matching answers to simple fill-in-the-blank statements with one celebrity of their choosing against the clock. Brad fact! So Bob, did you have any role in suggesting a change in format after the Match Game 90 pilot was filmed? And did you create any of the new format changes for Match Game 90?
Yes, I was. I was very involved in all of that. I was working with Michael Brockman, who was my boss at ABC, and the incredible team at Mark Goodson Productions, which was headed up by Jonathan Goodson at the time, and a great staff of people, many of whom I'm still friends with. Yeah, that was a joy. There were many little tweaks that we did to that show that I think honored the authenticity of the format, but brought it up to date in various ways.
And I have always loved the design of the Match Game 90 Star Wheel, in which the contestant spun the arrow instead of spinning the wheel itself. So Bob, who was the one who came up with the design for the Match Game 90 Star Wheel?
I thought that was one of the most clever designs in the history of game shows, and certainly in the history of game show wheels. It was Jim Agazy, who just passed away, who was the set designer on that.
And by 1990, we had seen our fair share of wheels on game shows. So for Match Game 90 to reinvent the wheel, you might say, it really was a new and exciting game show element for its time.
Yeah, I love that wheel. Love that wheel.
Well, unfortunately, the Star Wheel will not be making an appearance during today's game. But in a way, a few of your game show industry friends will be making an appearance, which I'm very excited about. So here's how we play Mutual Friend Match Game. I have channeled my inner Dick DiBartolo, who was a question writer on both the original version of the Match Game in the 60s, plus the more well-known 70s version of Match Game, and I cleverly created 5 original Bradley Clarke Match Game questions. The 5 questions are currently in front of me and are labeled A, B, C, D, and E. Bob, you'll pick a letter, I'll read the question attached to that letter, and as you know, your job is to fill in the questions blank with an answer. Now, this is why the game is called Mutual Friend Match Game, and why I said at the beginning of the episode that the game of the day will involve 4 additional people. Before the show, I sent the same 5 questions to 4 of our mutual friends, all of whom have also been my special guests on previous episodes of The Game Show. First, game show producer and judge on ABC's The $100,000 Pyramid, John Ricci Jr. Next, game show producer and creator of the home game A.K.A., also known as Aaron Solomon. Then the host of the classic Nickelodeon game show Nick Arcade, Phil Moore. And finally, one of the writers on the ABC primetime version of Match Game starring Alec Baldwin, and the winning contestant during my previous game of Mutual Friend Match Game, Jason Antoniewicz. I asked our 4 friends to fill in the blanks themselves, and all of their answers are officially locked in and will be revealed for the first time once you give your answer to each question, Bob. So John, Aaron, Phil, and Jason are the panelists for each question, and the goal throughout the game will be to match their answers. You'll play all 5 questions, and by the end of the game, if you've scored 6 matches or more, you will be deemed a winner. Those are all the rules. Bob, after working behind the scenes on Match Game 90 over 30 years ago, are you ready to finally become a Match Game contestant?
Yes, I am.
Then let's play Mutual Friend Match Game. And Bob, to really get us in the match game mood, I think a proper match game introduction is needed. So in my best Gene Wood voice, here I go. Get ready to match your friends. Judge on ABC's The $100,000 Pyramid, John Ricci Jr. Game creator and producer, Aaron Solomon. From Nick Arcade, Phil Moore. And game show writer and producer, Jason Antoniewicz, as we play the Friend Frenzy No Money Mutual Friend Match Game. And here's the star of Mutual Friend Match Game, Bradley Clarke. Thank you, Gene Wood, and welcome to Mutual Friend Match Game. Now let's say hello to our player, Bob Boden. Bob, it's a pleasure to have you on Mutual Friend Match Game today.
Thank you.
Well, Bob, here on Mutual Friend Match Game, you'll have 5 opportunities to match as many of the dinglings or creatures from the Dark Lagoon or whatever else you'd like to call them as possible. And if you can score 6 matches or more, you will not only be a Mutual Friend Match Game winner, but you'll also be a 2-time winner of the Game of the Day here on The Game Show. So, Bob, which letters question would you like to start with? A, B, C, D, or E?
Well, in honor of ABC, let's go A.
A it is, and away we go. TV Bob said, I've been working in the game show industry for so long, I remember when the whammy was blank. And although all of our panelists' answers have already been placed into their slots for every question, Bob, I'll still give you a few seconds to think about your answer. Plus, it also allows us to listen to some of Match Game 90's panelist writing music, which is always a joy. All right, once again, the question. TV Bob said, I've been working in the game show industry for so long, I remember when the whammy was blank.
I remember when the whammy was Adam.
I remember when the whammy was Adam, as in Adam and Eve, I'm presuming. Very intellectual answer, but let's see if it matches any of our panelists. John Ricci Jr. said, I remember when the whammy was in diapers. So no match there. Aaron Solomon said, I remember when the whammy was the devil, as in the devil from Second Chance, Pressure Luck's precursor.
Right.
Phil Moore said, I remember when the whammy was not a thief.
Okay.
And Jason Antoniewicz said, I remember when the whammy was on Beat the Odds.
Oh my. I went back further than them.
I know, well, you literally went back to day 1.
Well, Beat the Odds and the Second Chance reference are really good game show references, so I applaud that. I just went too far back.
I applaud those references too, so good job, Aaron and Jason. So unfortunately, you did not get any matches on your first question, but don't fear because you still have 4 more questions to go. Next up, would you like B, C, D, or E?
Well, let's stick with the ABC philosophy and go B.
All right, B it is. Dumb Dora is so dumb.
How dumb is she?
When she went to the drive-through ATM, She was surprised when the machine dispensed money instead of dispensing blank. Dumb Dora is so dumb. When she went to the drive-thru ATM, she was surprised when the machine dispensed money instead of dispensing blank.
I'll say soap.
Your answer is soap. Okay. Let's see what our panelists wrote down. John said fast food. That's probably the answer I would have said if I was playing. But let's see if we get soap from Aaron, Phil, or Jason. Aaron said dispensing gas. Phil also said fast food. And Jason said dispensing tellers.
Oh. All right. I was close to gas, but I should have thought fast food.
Not a problem at all. You still have 3 questions left. You need 6 matches to win, and there's 12 matches up for grabs. So, Bob, I think I know what letter you're going to pick next, but for game show legality reasons, which letter's question would you like to choose now?
Well, G, Bradley, I had A and then B. Let's go C.
I'm glad my ESP is also working during this game because that's exactly what I thought you would do, Bob. All right, here comes question C. Captain Kangaroo said, last Saturday night, I decided to go out to the bar with my pal, Mr. Green Jeans. And let me tell you, the bar we went to was blank. Captain Kangaroo said, last Saturday night, I decided to go out to the bar with my pal, Mr. Green Jeans. And let me tell you, the bar we went to was blank. Bob, how do you fill in that blank?
The bar we went to was an ice cream bar.
An ice cream bar. That's certainly my type of bar, but let's see if our panel agreed. John said the bar we went to was a gay bar.
Of course he would.
Aaron said the bar we went to was hopping. I think that is the definitive answer for the question. The bar we went to was hopping. Of course, hopping is a play on the word kangaroo in Captain Kangaroo's name because kangaroos hop. Phil said the bar we went to was full of kids. So you were on the right track by saying ice cream bar, but unfortunately that's not a match. And Jason also said the bar we went to was hopping.
Okay.
So, Bob, unfortunately, you still have 0 matches to your credit, but the game is certainly not over because there are still 2 questions left, 8 matches are up for grabs, and you only need 6 of them to win.
I got to get 3 out of 4 on the next 2.
This is true, but as you know, anything is possible when playing match game. All right, are we sticking with the same question-picking method, or are we switching it up at the very end?
Okay, let's reverse my philosophy on this ABC thing and let's go E.
All right, hopefully the strategy works by going with E instead of D. And here comes the E question. At the Wrestlers Farmers Market, you can find some of your favorite wrestling stars selling fresh vegetables at their stands. There's just one problem. Every wrestler is only selling varieties of blank. At the Wrestlers Farmers Market, you can find some of your favorite wrestling stars selling vegetables at their stands. There's just one problem. Every wrestler is only selling varieties of blank. Bob, what's your answer?
I guess I'll go spinach.
Spinach is your answer, okay? Let's see how the panel did for you this time, Bob. Starting off with John. He said broccoli. Aaron said squash. I think squash is the definitive answer for this question.
That's clever.
Phil also said squash. And according to Jason, at the Wrestlers Farmers Market, every wrestler is only selling varieties of squash. So, Bob, unfortunately, at the end of the fourth question, you still have 0 matches, which means you cannot win this game of Mutual Friend Match Game since there are only 4 matches up for grabs in the 5th and final question, and you need 6 matches to win. However, we are going to play question D, and I have complete confidence in you that you are going to score at least 1 match. You are not finishing Mutual Friend Match Game with a score readout of 0 on your podium.
All right, there you go.
Here comes question D, Bob. Good luck. The Statue of Liberty is having trouble finding love, so she recently created a dating app profile. In her bio, the Statue of Liberty wrote, "Looking for a man who is always willing to hold my blank." The Statue of Liberty is having trouble finding love, so she recently created a dating app profile. In her bio, the Statue of Liberty wrote, "Looking for a man who is always willing to hold my blank." Bob, for the final time, how do you fill in the blank?
It's got to be Torch.
Torch is your answer. And Bob, I think you might be hearing some dings in your future. I'm just saying. But let's start off by revealing John's answer. He said, "Steel boobs." The ever-popular boobs answer to a match game question. Unfortunately, that does not match your answer of Torch, but Aaron said, "Torch, so you're on the board, Bob. You have your first match."
Oh, finally.
Next up, we have Phil, and his answer is, "Torch, so you doubled your score, Bob. You have 2 matches."
All right.
And Jason also said Torch, so that's your 3rd match, Bob.
I'm halfway to the non-win that I hoped for. If I'd only thought of squash, I'd be a winner right now.
This is true, but here's the thing, Bob. I would love to invite you back in the near future for a game redemption episode, which means you will return to play Mutual Friend Match Game yet again to try and secure the victory I know you deserve. Plus, I'll give you the chance to play a brand new game as well.
I appreciate that. I will take you up on it.
Perfect. And now is the game of the day, Mutual Friend Match Game. Mutual Friend Match Game.